class is in memory of Jared Dorchen. I just came back from Israel. Anybody who flies to Israel on a night flight experiences something very interesting. The moment in the window you see a little bit light, there will be Jews who have kippas usually, get up and pull out from the glow, from their top there, that film. And while they pull it up, they wake up a few people. And then they run around and they see anybody who has a kippah, they wake him up and they tell him, Shachis, Shachis, minyan. And they right away start to make a minyan. It's so annoying that somebody came up with the eye blinders that's written in top of it, showing it davened. I already davened. The guy who was putting this on said, don't wake me up, don't bother me. Why are they, and many times, and even people on the side get upset, you wake them up, people are trying to sleep and they wake them up, and people scream at them, what's the rush? Wait another 2 hours, wait another 3 hours. What you need? The first second you see light, you have to jump and daven. There is a concept that's called sunrise, it's called vatikin. When is the time for prayers? You see, a personal prayer you can say whenever you want. Pray to God, God help me, anytime, 24/7. But there is 3 times a day Jewish people pray. For every prayer there is a specific time. When is the time for the morning prayer? The time for prayer the rabbis set up, it's based on the time for the sacrifices in the temple, when they offer the morning sacrifice, because the prayer is a replacement for the morning sacrifice. They used to offer it when they saw the first sliver of the sun, sunrise. Not by dawn. Dawn you see a little light, but it's still too early. Sunrise is the time for prayer. What part of the prayer you do by sunrise? You do the Amidah. You start the Amidah, the silent Amidah, on the moment of sunrise. Today sunrise is probably 6:43, something like this. Dawn will be 4:30, 4:40, whatever it is. Sunrise is 6:40 probably. Or maybe 5 o'clock, the dawn. But sunrise is around this time. Then what people do, before they start the service like 20 minutes or half hour before sunrise, they put on the Talmud film. They pray all the preliminary service before the Amidah. The Amidah, the silent Amidah, the Shmoneh Esrei as it's called, this is prayer. This is the appointment that I have with God. Anything before that is like a preparation to the appointment. That's why before the Amidah we go 3 steps backward and 3 steps forward, like we're entering to the room of the king, to the chamber. And by the end of the silent Amidah, we go back 3 steps, because we are walking out of the room of God. That's why during the Amidah, you're not allowed to talk to anybody, you're not allowed to interrupt the Amidah, you're not allowed to go to the restroom, you're praying the Amidah, because it's an appointed with God. Then what they do is, they start, and when they pray all this until the Amidah, comes the Amidah, they look on the clock, and when there is 6:43 and a half, they begin the silent Amidah. Hasidic Jews are not big on praying so early, because Hasidic Jews said that what's the purpose of the prayer? An appointment with God. You have to have an awareness when you pray that you're speaking to God. If you fall out of the bed so early and you're running to daven, you're half asleep, that you might catch the sun and miss God. And for Hasidic Jews said, you wake up in the morning, you go to the mikveh if you can, you drink a cup of coffee, you learn some Torah, and then when you pray to God, you are more focused, because you can, the best time it's the preferred time is the earliest time is in sunrise, but you can daven another 3 hours after that. There is 3 hours later. Then you can do it later. But there are thousands of Jews all over the world who pray sunrise. Just yesterday, somebody came here yesterday morning. He told me he came to the synagogue. He thought there would be services by sunrise. He was waiting outside. And I told him it's interesting that this Shabbat we spoke about it. Anybody who was by the Kotel, the Western Wall in Jerusalem, saw something very unique. Usually in every synagogue, there is one service, one minyan. If I want to have another minyan, I go to the second room. If there is a need for 3 minyans, they'll go to a third room, a part of the congregation. But in one room, there is only one service. In the Kotel, there is many services at the same time. Anybody was there? There's many minyans, many minyans. And there is noise, everybody is running his own show. That's one thing different. The other thing is, in every synagogue there is one nusach. You know, there is different prayer books. There is Ashkenaz prayer book, the Sephardic prayer book, there is a Yemenite prayer book, there is Chabad as their own prayer book. You come to a synagogue, if you want to be the chazan, you have to daven with the service, with the siddur that they practice in the synagogue. You're not allowed to have 2 minyans with 2 different services, 2 different prayer books. In the Kotel, everybody is davening whatever he wants. The Yemenite have their own minyan, the Ashkenazi Jews have their own minyan, the Hasidim have their own minyan. Everybody is doing his own, runs the show like he's in his own show. But there is one moment, a few minutes in the 24 hours, that it's silent at the wall. And this is when they all come together to sunrise. There is around 1,000 Jews a day who come 5 o'clock. In Israel, sunrise is much earlier. 5 o'clock in the morning to the wall every day. And they pray there, and when it comes, let's say 5:34, whatever the time is, all the services, the Yemenite and the Ashkenazi and the Hasidim and the non-Hasidim, everybody is silent at the same moment. And for a few moments, it's quiet. Everybody is davening, is praying the silent Amidah. And it's a very special moment. It's so dear to these people that in 2014 the Pope came to Israel and he wanted to visit the wall. That the security, the Israeli police wanted to close down the wall from a night before, just for security. But the rabbi who is in charge of the wall argued that he cannot close it the night before. There is Jews who daven every day, 5 o'clock in the morning for 50 years at the Kotel, at the wall. When you're going to close it down, what is this? And they had the service. And when the service of the morning service, the sunrise service was over, then they cleaned up the place. And the Pope came a little later. Everything was okay. Then on July 22nd this year, a day after Tisha B'Av, it was a Monday morning, all the minyans were silent on 5:34, and 2 minutes later, on 5:36, they heard a huge fall sound of a stone fell out of the temple, of the wall. The Western Wall is a wall that was built by Herod. Not only the Western Wall, Herod wanted to expand the Temple Mount. What he did, he built 4 big walls, foundation walls, and in between he put like I forgot what it's called in English, then arches to all the way to the wall, to the mountain, and they built on top of it a big temple. These 4 walls are still existing. Not only the Western Wall, all the 4 walls. We pray at the Western Wall because it's written in the Talmud and the Medrash that the Shekhinah, God's presence, is in this wall. It's there. Then it's standing for 2,000 years. Never happened such a thing. A stone, a huge stone that's weighing more than 200 pounds, fell out of nowhere. But it fell out in a new part of the wall where they just opened. Nobody was there. One lady was standing next to it and praying, and it fell literally next to her. Miraculously, it didn't hurt anybody. If it would be 12 hours before, when the Kotel was full with Jews on Tisha B'Av, it would be a tragedy. It's a huge stone. They explain what happened. There is a lot of water, of leaks going around the Temple Mount. And the water gave growth to a root. And the root with the moisture broke the stone. And eventually the stone fell out, pushed out, and the stone fell out. That they said that in the main part of the wall where everybody comes to pray, there is not a problem. Twice a year, the engineers come there with scaffolds and they check stone by stone. and they go over everything because a few years ago, I think 20 years ago, a small stone fell out. Since then, they check every stone twice a year before Pesach and before the holidays. But this part of the wall is a new part. They just made it and made it accessible for people to pray there that they never checked it. Now they'll go to check it. The question is, what are you going to do with the stone? Then the first idea was to cut it off, to sell every little piece for $1,000 or for $10,000, to make a big fundraiser for the wall. But it's written, the walls are apart from the temple. You're not allowed to benefit from the temple, anybody. Then maybe you should put the stone back to the wall. To put back the stone to the wall, you know what you need.
Great.
You need to make holes in the stone and with screws to connect it. But you're not allowed, it's written in the Parsha Re'ei. The Torah says, when you come to the land of Israel, you should destroy the idol worshipping houses. Do not do it to the house of God. That any type of breaking is a problem. They cannot break it. Then what are you going to do with it? I'll leave it for them. They don't ask me anyway. But there is a lesson for us. Elul is an acronym. Elul, then we are the month before the holidays, the month of Elul. The month of Elul has many acronyms. It's interesting that this month, we never look for another month for an acronym. What's the meaning of this month? What Elul, there is a lot of them. The most famous one is Ani ledodi vedodi li. I'm to my beloved is to me. But there is another one. Aron, luchot, veshivrei luchot. Aron means ark, luchot means tablets, veshivrei luchot, and the broken tablets. It means the month of Elul reminds us about the broken tablets. When happened the broken tablet? Moses came down from Mount Sinai, right? He saw the Jews making the golden calf. And he got so upset with them, he broke the tablets. Then he went up to God for negotiation, he pleaded, prayed, and this. And then God told him, you can do it. And on the beginning of the month of Elul, Moses went up again to Mount Sinai with 2 new stones, sapphire stones. Went up to heaven, and God wrote on it again the 10 Commandments. And when he came down back with the new sets of stone, on Yom Kippur, then Moses put the stones, the two tablets, the 2 new tablets in the ark. And what he did with the broken tablets? Where he put them?
One account indicates they're in the ark as well.
He put them also in the ark, underneath the complete stones. When you read it and you learn it, you don't understand what's going on here. The broken tablets, what they remind? They remind us. What they remind to God? That we sinned to the golden calf. Why to keep the broken tablets? Bury them, put them away somewhere.
Because they're holy.
You can bury them even if they're holy. Why we keep them there? Because when Moses broke the tablets, something broke in the heart of every Jew. We became humble. We became humility. We realized that we are not complete. The complete people, they think they are perfect. Before, when we received the Torah at Mount Sinai, until the breaking of the tablet, these 40 days, the Jews were in such a high, that's why they sinned. They were complete. Since the breaking of the tablet, we all know that we are not complete. God wanted to say the tablets, the broken tablets are in the ark, because that's what God wants, broken tablets. God doesn't want only complete tablets.
Is the breaking of the glass at the wedding partly related to that?
Yes. Then what we learn from it? In month of Elul, we come before Rosh Hashanah. Everybody looks at himself, and he sees broken mitzvahs, pieces. This mitzvah he did a little bit, the other one he did a piece, a third quarter, and he looks at himself and says, I'm going to come to God for Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. It's all broken. God tells us, broken tablets, broken Jews, broken in a sense of humble Jews, not broken said, broken in a sense that people don't understand that they are not perfect, they are not complete. God is looking for the non-perfect Jews. The perfect Jews can stay home. Anybody who thinks he's perfect doesn't have to come Yom Kippur to show. The Rosh Hashanah is Yom Kippur for us, for regular Jews who are not perfect. And the broken stone in the wall reminds us about the broken tablets. And this acronym I heard from the Rebbe in the name of the Megala Amukos, that it reminds us, Elul reminds us more about the complete tablets, reminds us about the broken tablets.